So today, I know that just by the definition of it, stick around, you can see great leaders, excellent leaders have that. The routine, what they're good at, how they repeat it, on and on. You probably already have leaders like that that you can model after, that you see that their lifestyle is consistently repeating of great habit that they have built through experience, knowledge, and understanding. So we can talk about the great leaders over and over, and we know that good leadership is actually leading by example. Those who lead by example are excellent leaders, and we aspire to be like them. Great leaders also grow in understanding, and excellent leaders work on impacting everybody else beyond themselves. And I can go on, as we've discussed yesterday, talking about excellence and excellent leaders, how they do it, who they are, etc., etc. But today, what I want to focus more on is how can you, as a young professional, young woman, young man, how can you take some practical steps such that someday you too can be an excellent leader? Someday you too can be the best husband you want to be, the best mother you want to be, the best spouse you want to be. You too can be the best CEO of a company that you want to be. You too can be the leader of your nation, of your country. You can be the president, the prime minister, the governmental officials that will make decisions that impact your country and the globe. How can you do that? That's the why that I wanted to talk to you, and the how you can do that. I want to share some practical experience, some practical steps that you can take today, starting with today, to get there. Some of those that I am about to share are things that I've developed in the last 15 years in my journey to leadership. Some of it I wish I have known 15 years ago. I would be a better man, a better husband, a better leader, a better social change maker. But it's never too late. Even if you haven't started, it's still the perfect time. And I am super glad that you are on this conference with us. I call them my 5 B's. Every single one of those, I'll go through it, but I hope you capture this deeply. The very first one is to be humble and have faith. Humility is something I have observed in every single great leader. Everyone as a leader that are reputable that you know, they have this in common. They're very humble people. You can't lead a group of people or a company or a nation or an organization or be a coach unless some of those principles are embedded in you. And to start with being humble. And have faith. You can be humble, but if you don't add faith to it, it might not make the cut. When I say have faith, I mean believe, and not tiny small voice in you. Some of you hearing me yesterday might be thinking, I want to make a change in my community, in my family, in my society, in my city, for my nation, for my country. Yes, that's a small voice that is beginning to speak to you. And I know you will face challenges where even if you think you have all it takes, somebody might still tell you, oh no, that's not possible. So you need a little bit of dose of faith to stand for it, and it will happen. So be humble and have faith. That's the first step. The second one is to be willing to learn and seek understanding. And in short, I would strongly say this: don't ever stop learning, regardless of how old you are or how young you are. Even if you feel like, oh, well, this isn't for me anymore. Actually, we only get to use about 10 to 20% of our brain capacity. So don't let the other 80% sit dormant. Keep on learning. Read books. When I'm taking a run, one of my other habits, I put earbuds and I listen to books while I'm running. It helped me learn things that I don't know. It's helped me learn other people's experience. And as a result, it helped me plow into my journey to becoming an excellent leader down the road someday. Understanding, we emphasized it yesterday. Go out, acquire knowledge. You need to know something. Acquire knowledge. Build a skill. And then seek understanding and use wisdom, good judgment to bridge the gap. Knowledge and understanding. With wisdom to bridge that gap, it will set you for success toward excellence in becoming an excellent leader. Number 3, build your desired list of habits. There is something called putting it on paper. It is so powerful when you take what is in your heart or in your mind and you put it on paper. It becomes a tangible reality in front of you. Some of you probably already have some habit. I would like you to revisit it, refine it, and put it on paper. Write it down. I wrote down every single one of the programs that I talked to you about yesterday. Our care package program. It was in my mind, in my heart for years, but I never get to. But when I wrote it down, say, I need to build care packages. This is how I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be 2 bulls and a plow. I need a yoke in there. I need vaccination to make sure that those animals are healthy for the family. And oh, wait, I need to train those families. So I write down, train them so they know how to best utilize it. And then I realize, while I'm training them, it's going to take some time. And these people are starving. So I'm going to add a bag of rice in there so they get fed during the training, the family. By writing it down, it's caused me to have to do it, make it happen. It's the same for our clean water well. It's the same for our macro loan. It's the same for our school. And I believe that none of this will begin to take effect if I didn't actually put it down. I emphasized the word impossible yesterday that I wrote it on the mirror in my room. And I look at it every day. So I got to do something about this thing that bothers me because I wrote it down and I see it. So instead of that, just put the apostrophe there. It becomes I am possible. So write things down, your habit, and put it to practice. Often we don't see it. Doesn't mean we don't think of it. But we're thinking of it, but because we don't see it, we don't often do it. But once you think of it and write it down, then both the fact, your thought, and the visibility in front of you causes you to want to do it. I'll share you some of my habits that I do so that might be a reference for you. You can write yours down or refine it. When I get up in the morning, I have my first 30 minutes that I am by myself. I call it my time of solitude. During that time of 30 minutes, I sit there and be thankful for my wife, my 2 kids, my extended family, my brothers, siblings, my father, my mother. In the first 5 to 10 minutes, I can list at least somewhere around 50 to 100 people that I'm thankful for. And then my next phase is to read a verse in the Bible. And then I say a prayer and close my 30-minute session. Then I take a shower, brush my teeth, and I take a walk in the neighborhood. When I come back in, I get work started. During my work time, as you heard it, I'm a software engineer. I also run FNTE. My work I put a schedule. What need to be done today? I keep track of it, make sure that it's done. At the end of the day, when work is finished, I have time that I call family time. That's the time I spend with my family. That includes dinner, walks, and sometimes when they go to bed early, I go for a run as part of my normal schedule. And I listen to books while I'm running. And that helps me learn so much. And at the end of the day, I have a question as part of my habit. How was your day? That's a question that I ask myself. How was your day? And I have to answer each day. How was my day to myself by looking at myself in the mirror? Did you do the list that you had? Did you miss something? If I missed something, why? And I have to answer. The question, how was your day, helped me every day to make sure that my list have every single one of them, I hit it properly. Sometimes I miss 1 or 2, but why did I miss it? I answer, and that helped me correct the following day. So having a list of habits that you can practically put in place can really help you reach your goal in a proper manner, a consistency, which every leader really have to have this consistency and the ability to achieve what you put down. In other words, you gotta walk your talk. You thought about it, you written it down, then you make it happen. And when it come alive, people see that you are talking and you are walking your talk when you say. Number 4 here is build patience and practice. The road to excellence required some patience and a lot of practice. You're not gonna get up one day and just be there. Some of my stories I shared yesterday, it's been going on for about 20 years. So many of the great leaders, as we know, it took them quite a chunk of their lives to reach that. So it takes time, and time required patience and practice. When you're learning, you have to be patient to make sure that you understand what you learn. Don't skim through it because you won't pay in the long run. But if you go through the proper training, accept the time it takes, later it will pay off big time. So be patient. Don't rush through life. It's so special that every moment of it should be treated with care and a lot of attention. Practice, 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 practice. What you're hearing yesterday and today, put it to practice. What you heard about trust, relationship, forgiveness, understanding, excellence. The moment this conference closes, just start putting it to practice. It might take a month. It might take 2 months. It might take 6 months. It might take a year. In some cases, it will take multiple years. But as you practice, you will reach it. No doubt about it. And the best of the list here that I have not reached completely is the last part here. Build your personal board of directors. That's something that I am so glad you're hearing it today. If you have never heard about this, I'm glad you're hearing it because I did not know this. If I knew this, I believe that I would be much better than I am today as a leader of a nonprofit organization. All areas of my life would have been much better, but I didn't. And I found it out later, and I'm implementing it as I speak to you. And this is absolutely applicable to anyone, not just students or professionals or leaders, every single person. We are not meant to do life by ourselves. Every single one of us are designed to be at your best, to perform at your best when you are in a group. This conference would not be a success if it was just me talking on the screen. If it was just you signing on. But because it is done with people, it is absolutely amazing. If you take a successful company that you know of, there is a president or a CEO, and that particular individual has what they call board of directors that makes the decisions that confirm or refuse the decisions that the leader of the organization make. If you take a mosque, every mosque has a leadership in there. If you take a church, every church has leaders, not just the pastor. Even this conference that we are on, there are leaders of the conference. And then there are staff around that person to make sure that the conference is successful. It's the same way for us. Every one of us need to have a group of people that are looking out for you, that are checking on you to make sure that you are repeatedly working on your great habit. And I don't suggest that you have one person. Some people call it mentors. Some people call it my coaches. I like the word board of directors. Those are people, it's not people that you pay to serve you. No. Those are people that would take a look at you, stare you in the face and tell you what you don't want to hear. But yet, deep in you, you know that what they're saying is what will ultimately help you in the long run, what will make you the best version of yourself. My suggestion is make sure you have people around you. And those people can be people that you are longing to be like, people that you admire, people that you're thinking, how in the world did they get there? I want to get there too. People who have already gone through what you are going through. People that you think or believe that they have succeeded in the things that you are struggling with. Those are the people you want to call on your side and ask them to mentor you, to guide you, to help you. And in every society, there are people like that. And I want to share with you one of my personal board of directors that I have met. He's an 80-year-old man, retired from the United States Air Force, where he has served for 22 years in various positions. This man he see me just like one of his kids, if not his younger kid. So he has nothing to lose by telling me up front what's right, what's not right. If I had people like that early on, it would have been great. So it's my highest encouragement that you consider looking up for people, one or two or three. Just one can be difficult, but I suggest that you have at least more than one, but not too many that you have to juggle with. I think 3 is fantastic number. But for some of us to have 3 people that are more experienced than you are, that are willing to take you under their wings, that are willing to share their experience with you, might be challenging. So 2 is okay. But if you really can, find 3. And those that do not have to know each other. You don't have to have a everyday meeting with all of them. Those are people that you can reach out when you need some practical, serious, honest advice on issues that you might face on your journey to becoming an excellent leader. So build your own personal board of directors. It is key to becoming who you want to be, to becoming an excellent leader, to becoming the man, the woman, the leader, the challenger that you are dreaming to be. The earlier you start, the better off you will be. And I know for the past couple of days on this conference, we've taken the time to talk to you about trust, relationships, understanding, and excellence. I want to ask you, given all the circumstances you are in, have you given the best of yourself? If you're sitting in your room or in your house and you have all the comfort you need, you got access to the internet, you have a computer, you got clothes, food to eat, you got clean water right there in your home. Are you making the best with all you have? Given the circumstances you are in, are you making the best out of it so that you can impact the world around you, so that you can impact your community, so that you can impact your own family, your friends, your classmate, your teammate at work, your village, your city, your country? Are you making the best of yourself out of what you have? And if you are in a city remotely somewhere, like in my case, in a village, where the access to internet is very limited, you might not have the kind of fancy stuff you see on TV. Or you know that in your neighborhood, some people are starving, don't have food. And you're listening to me today. Are you giving the best of yourself, given the circumstances that surround you? Can you get up and do something about the circumstances around you? And yes, you can. Yes, it is possible. Some of us have all it takes, but somehow we just fear that it's not gonna work. Let me tell you, give it a try. Just get up and take action. Give your best at everything you do, regardless of the circumstance around you. I see in you world changers, future leaders. We need you. The world needs successful leaders like you. And I know, I believe it, that you can do this. You are gonna be an excellent leader. You're gonna be the best version of yourself. Just take the step, trust. Take it. It's all about relationship. Accept it. Just meet people where they are, even if they've been rejecting you. It's understanding. And with all that is surrounding you, make the best out of it by giving it all you got, and you will be an excellent leader. I hope my experience and what I share with you will inspire you to go out and take action. Yes, I mean it. Make your drop. Regardless of how big the ocean might be, don't think that as little you are insignificant. You're not. Take action and make your drop and watch the impact, the waves of it go in your community, in your city, all the way your entire nation. Why not to the world, to all of us? It is possible. Make the drop. And with that, if you have further questions for me, I am reachable through my website at feedingnations.org or my email listed here. I'm also on the social channels. Either direction, it will reach me. If you would like to be in touch or have further question or follow-up, or if you face a challenge, need to talk, I will be happy to give a hand whenever I can. The world is just one piece. You might be in Japan today, but you never know that you might be someday speaking in Africa or in China. I did not know that someday a poor boy from my village could be in Chico, California, or Sacramento, or Canada. I did not know. The future ahead of us is such that I know each one of you have a part to it. So let's make our world better for the future leaders like yourself. Thank you for your time. And that was the end of my presentation I have for you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Alfred. Wow. Yeah, so encouraging. I appreciate that, the 5 Bs. So now let's do Q&A. Jordan's going to lead us in some questions that you guys have typed into chat, and continue to type those in. So Jordan, lead on.
Alfred, we got one question here for you. um, the referring to your 30 minutes in the morning, how do you build that 30-minute time?
Good question.
Oh, sorry. How do you build the time habit at the beginning of that habit?
Good question. When I first started it, it's I couldn't complete it in 30 minutes. It was too much to get done in 30 minutes. But practice, as I practice and practice, I got it within the 30 minutes. So it's writing down that helps me. What I have to do during the day, if I leave it to my brain, my mind, it sounds like too much. But when I list it, this and this and this and this, you will see that in your list, maybe two and say five can actually be combined once you list it up. And I have found that on my list of the 30-minute, although when I first listed, it's way more than a page, I can shrink the whole thing in half a page. And that reduced my time as I go. So I made the list and it sounds too big. And I saw that some of my list can actually be combined. This number two relate to number 10. I can join those and make it easier. I can get it done in a short period of time. And as you practice, you will see that things that used to take you 2 hours to do, you can actually get it done in 30 minutes. And sometimes I've seen it at work. I've talked to my teammates and some people that report to me at work. I tell them, sometimes you sit on the computer for 8 hours. Ask yourself, how was your day at the end of the day? Did you actually accomplish what you meant to accomplish during the day? Or did you just surf through the internet, most of it? So those questions helped me and can help anyone to redirect your attention to what is that you need to get done without being distracted to other directions. So I made the list. Then on the list, I found the things that can be paired up, which reduced my list, and focusing on that because I know I have to answer a question at the end of the day. How was your day? Those are the things that help me keep my 30-minute to 30-minute, my family time to family time, my running time to running time, and my book listening during the time I'm running. Because I figured I can finish this book in a matter of 3 or 4 runs. So running, book listening, they can go together. So I merged those. I don't have to spend another 8 hours reading a book when I can do running and listen to a book at the same time. Anybody know about Audible? That's what I use. Love it because my running time and my book reading time can be combined, and that reduce my time. I got a lot done doing two things at the same time. And the listing allows you to merge the things. Until you list it, you can't really see which one can be done at the same time with this one. So I hope that answers your question. But the first 30-minute, the first time I started it, no, it didn't. It was not 30 minutes. It takes longer than that. And sometimes I just have to stop and go. But working on that, practice, I got it down to where I needed it to be.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have any other questions unless anybody wants to shout them out now.
Yeah, feel free to continue typing your questions, and I can make another announcement or two about tonight, or this afternoon rather. So go ahead and continue to type your questions. What Alfred has said is perfect for what's coming up. is one of the more significant events of True Leadership Conference is Hear My Story. The 360 Leadership Evaluation is coming up, and it's a time for your friends to give you feedback, and it's very valuable and usually most productive. That and Hear My Story exercise are coming up as well. So I think Hear My Story is coming up next, but then the 360 evaluation this afternoon is really valuable. And it's a time to give feedback on what little, your friends here have only seen you during 2 weekends, but what they can hopefully give you some feedback, and it'll just be good information for you to process and think about, some constructive comments and that type of thing. So I look forward to that. That's coming up next. Any other questions for Alfred?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, Jordan.
Alfred, you mentioned to have a list every day. How do you prioritize your daily tasks?
That's another very good question. When you have a list, it's the next phase is exactly what you said. You have to prioritize. So here's my example. When I have my list, I skim through it. See which one is the biggest time-consuming one that will take most of my day or most of my next hour or two. I put those ones aside to my right side. And then the ones that won't take me more than 30 or 1 hour, I put them on my left side. That one, I do it on the computer. Right side is the things that take me more than an hour. Left side is what take me less than that. And I tackle, some people start with the smallest, then go to the biggest. I do the other way around. I start with the toughest one that would take longer and focus on them. While I am working on the toughest one, my mind is telling me that, oh, by the way, don't forget that you got some on the other side. Therefore, it keeps me trying to get this done faster. And as a result, I often finish them before the time I set aside for it. Therefore, it frees me to finish the smallest one. And because I got my brain going on the toughest one, when I tackle the smaller one, it's so easy to get done. That's my strategy when I'm tackling my list for the day. I divide it in two. Everything that takes me more than 1 hour, that's my right column. Everything that takes me less than 1 hour is on my left one. And I tackle the biggest one first with intensity, focus to get those done. I often arrive at getting it done before the time I set up, and which free me to focus on what's less than an hour. Because it's like a marathon. When you are running a marathon, you start, and then the aim is that you get to the finish line. In between, there will be a time where you actually run a little faster than you might have planned. And there will be time in between where you run a little slower than you might have planned. So during the marathon, I think if I was given the chance to get started, I would start where there are a lot of hills, because I'll get to finish the hills first. So the last part would be the downhill, easier. That's the kind of my thought process. So to you, just divide your list. Maybe you want to put the ones that are more than 2 hours here and the ones that are less here. But once you do that, then you can decide, let me start with maybe the smaller ones, because some people like teasers. They get a small one, then they get excited, then they get to the next smaller one, they get excited, they finish that, then they get excited, they attack the big one, then they build the momentum. If that works for you, please do that. But if you are my kind of, tough-headed, I want to finish the tough one, then that gives me the momentum to just run through the smaller ones so fast, then do that. But setting them side by side with a timeline, time stamp, I call it time stamp to it. Whether it is you decide to do my way is 1 hour. Anything above 1 hour here, anything less than 1 hour here. Some people you can go with anything beyond 2 hours here, anything below 2 hours here. If you do it that way, it helps. That's how I do it. Does that help?
Nice. That's good. This is just me following up. What happens if something comes up unplanned? How do you put that into your day?
Good question. You're going through the list. Once I finish my list, at the bottom of my list is two columns, and at the bottom I have a wide open line that I called emergency. So, and that is always blank. So if something comes out, I put it there. Emergency. And then after it says somebody call, or I get an email that cannot wait, I put there, emergency number 1 or number 2, number 3 as they come in. Then I ask myself, can this wait? If it can, and that's the honest thing that you have to be to yourself. Can this wait? If it cannot, then that's emergency number 1, which means it's an emergency and I have to stop where I am at to take care of this. If it is an emergency number 2, that means I have to finish what I'm working on before I attack it. That's my emergencies right underneath my 2 columns. What goes beyond more than an hour, less than an hour, and I have an emergency bucket at the bottom for the calls or the emails that comes in, and I rank them there. Emergency number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. When you get started this way, you might see that your emergency list can end up like 10 of them. But I guarantee you practice this, you will find out that some of the things we often call emergency aren't really emergencies. They often can wait and go on your to-do list for the next day. But if we don't strategize or build this kind of habit, everything can literally be treated as an emergency. Therefore, you waste all your 24 hours per day running on emergency, only to find out that they're really not emergencies. So that's a honest response to your questions. It doesn't mean I minimize requests or emails, or I don't. I try to insert them and get them done during the day. And if needed, I push out my schedule 30 minutes or an hour longer for the day. Yeah. Does that help?
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One last question about choosing a board of directors. What characteristics, what would you suggest for us to look for, characteristics for people that we're looking for those positions?
That's a very good question. For me, I want people who are not afraid to tell me the truth. I want somebody who look at me in the face and tell me, Alfred, you suck at this. I want somebody who would not be afraid. They want me to do so good that they would look at me in the face and tell me what's wrong with you. That's my number 1 criteria. I observe, because you will meet people along the way, at school, at work, at church, in the city, among your friends. You will see some people that somehow they cut your attention on certain things that they do better than you do, that they know how to better than you do. And don't be afraid. Don't try to compare yourself. Just, like I said, be humble. Somebody can be the same age as you or younger than you but they have something, some skill set or some expertise on some areas that you don't, that you see valuable. Just humble yourself and ask that person if they can mentor you, if they can help you out. So they might be a lot older than you are or about your age. They might even be younger than you are. It depends on what or who you feel you want to be. And then you're looking for people who have already had that kind of expertise or that kind of experience that you don't have. And number two, yes, it's the people who have those experiences you don't have, but are they the kind that would be able to look at you in the face and tell you what you need to get done, whether you like it or not? And if they are, then you do that. When you do select these people, not all of them will accept that. So I had people that I have asked and they decline. So don't take it as a roadblock because they busy too. They got their own habit that they're working on. They get their own skills that they're working on. So if they say no, take that as an experience. And usually these kind of people, the way they say no, it's in itself a lesson. Like I didn't know how to say no. I just didn't know. But one of those guys that I reached out to, the way he declined me, I loved it. I actually learned from him how to say no to certain things that I did not know. So the lessons and the people that you can have as board of directors are people that somehow how they do things, even the way they say no, is something that you can learn. So shortly, just look up for the people that you admire or you aspire to be like, and the people who have more experience in certain areas than you do, and humble yourself before them, whether they're older than you or younger than you or same age, and be very specific why you want their help on this and this and that. And if they accept it, great news. If they don't, great news. Learn how they said no. It's all helping you become who you want to be. Does that answer your question?
Nice. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think that's it. Kaylin, back to you.